Some stories you don't just hear, you feel them. They crawl into your thoughts long after you've turned the lights off, replaying in flashes when the house goes quiet, or when you catch yourself staring into a mirror too long. The Hollow Man isn't a campfire tale, he's a presence, and the places he goes never stay the same. Tonight's accounts follow him into three of the most unnerving settings imaginable: a vampire's lair, a police precinct crawling with convicts, and a haunted house that doesn't end when the season does. Story 1. The Hollow Man versus the Dark Prince. There's an old castle in the hills that most locals don't talk about. Some say it was abandoned centuries ago. Others insist someone still lives there. Either way, people go missing near its grounds, and the ones who come back are pale, silent, and never seem to live long afterward. The truth is, the place belongs to a vampire, the Dark Prince. He doesn't stalk alleys or sneak into bedrooms like in movies. He lures people in, young, old, it doesn't matter. Once inside, they're trapped. He feeds on them slowly, keeping them alive just enough to draw it out. They wander the stone halls like walking shadows, chained by something stronger than iron. On a night with a swollen moon, something changed. The castle doors groaned open, though no one touched them. The victims stirred, sensing something entering that wasn't supposed to be there. A tall, faceless figure moved silently across the threshold, the Hollow Man. The vampire greeted him like an uninvited guest, lips curling into a smile that showed two sharp fangs. He mocked the intruder, expecting resistance, maybe fear. But the Hollow Man didn't answer. He simply turned and ripped open the first set of shackles. The prisoners stumbled forward, but instead of collapsing in relief, they stiffened. Their eyes rolled back as their shadows stretched unnaturally toward the Hollow Man. The vampire's grin faltered. This wasn't a rescue, it was a robbery, a theft of souls. The two forces clashed in silence, shadows and teeth tearing through stone halls. To the victims, it was worse than death. They weren't being fought over as people. They were trophies, fuel for whichever monster claimed them. Some begged for one side to win, others for the other, but most realized too late there was no side worth choosing. The fight dragged on, shattering candelabras and rattling the stained glass windows until cracks split them down the middle. The screams of the victims rose and fell like waves, but no one outside the castle could hear them. The Hollow Man never slowed, never flinched, while the vampire's grin twisted into a snarl as he realized this was no ordinary rival. By dawn, the halls were littered with shattered glass and blood that didn't belong to either side, and yet, neither creature was gone. Some locals swear the vampire still rules those halls. Others claim the Hollow Man still stalks them. The truth might be worse, that both linger, forever circling, each waiting for the other to weaken, while the souls of the prisoners are pulled thinner and thinner with every passing year. If you've ever wondered why no one dares to explore its ruins, it's because the fight for those souls never stopped. Stories like this have been submitted by viewers who claim the Hollow Man followed them. If anything strange has happened to you, leave it in the comments. Story 2. The Hollow Army versus the Prisoners. Every precinct in New York has its share of horror stories: suicides in cells, bloody escapes, police corruption. But ask around about the blackout at Fifth Avenue's precinct, and you'll hear silence. Because what happened that night doesn't fit any report. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the power died. Cameras froze, alarms shut off, and every light in the building went black. What little was captured on backup surveillance is blurry, distorted, almost like the shadows were thicker than they should have been. Officers described hearing footsteps that didn't echo right. Not just one set, multiple. 5 smaller shadows moved like they belonged to someone else. And behind them, him, the Hollow Man. One by one, the cell doors clicked open on their own. Prisoners staggered out, confused, some grinning like Christmas had come early. But as they ran, something caught them, not physically but deeper. One man made it to the side exit, bolted through the glass. But when he glanced back, his reflection didn't match him. Instead of his face, 5 faceless outlines loomed. His shadow peeled off the floor as though it belonged to them, not him. By the time his body crumpled to the pavement another hollow figure stood where he had been. The precinct filled with screams. Guards fled, guns useless, the bullets hitting walls but never what mattered. And the prisoners, well, some were taken, some were left. No one knows the exact number. By dawn, dozens were missing. The official story says they escaped during the blackout. But officers who survived whisper about what they saw after, about prisoners falling to their knees mid-run, clutching at their throats as if choking on nothing, only for their eyes to roll back as their bodies folded inward like collapsing puppets. Moments later, a new hollow soldier would rise in their place. Detectives who tried to follow them later claimed they saw those same figures scattered across the city, in alleys, in subway tunnels, always faceless, always in step. Witnesses say they moved with one purpose: to spread, to collect. The worst part is how the stories never stopped. Every few months, new people vanish without explanation. No ransom notes, no bodies, no patterns that make sense. And every time, someone swears they see 5 faceless figures drifting through the city just before it happens, with a taller one leading them. The truth is, the Hollow Man didn't just free prisoners that night. He built an army, and the streets of New York have never been the same. If you're still watching, you're not alone. Most people turn this off by now. But you want to see what happens next. Maybe you should stick around, or subscribe before it gets worse. Story 3, Hollow House. There's a haunted house on the outskirts of town that nobody builds, nobody tears down, and nobody advertises. It just exists. Locals call it Hollow House, but if you ask who first gave it that name, nobody remembers. Every October, it opens its doors. People assume it's some underground attraction. The lights flicker, fog machines hiss, mannequins lurch forward. It feels like any other cheap scare setup. But it's not, because the people who go in don't always come back. A group of friends once live-streamed their walkthrough. You can still find fragments of the footage online, though most copies get pulled fast. At first it was laughter, jump scares, teasing each other. Then one of them noticed the walls behind them had changed. Doors they'd passed minutes earlier were gone. Mirrors showed their group, but with one extra figure at the back. Tall, faceless, unmoving. When they turned around, nothing was there. But the stream started glitching, frames skipping forward like something was interfering. In the final 30 seconds of footage, the camera dropped. You could see the floor, shoes scuffling, voices screaming. Then silence. The last image was of the hallway, empty, except for the Hollow Man standing at the end, head tilting as if he'd been watching all along. No bodies were found, just the camera lying at the entrance where the group had walked in. More stories followed. Teenagers dared each other to go in, only to vanish. Families claimed their kids wandered off inside and never came out. Each time, police sealed the doors, but Hollow House simply appeared again. Same warped roof, same black door, on another empty lot miles away. Some claim the house isn't even real, that it's a living trap, crafted by the Hollow Man himself. The walls breathe, the corridors twist endlessly, and every mirror inside shows not your reflection, but your absence, like your soul is already gone. And the scariest part? People who have escaped, the very few, say the house follows them afterward. They wake up to the sound of carnival music in their hallways. They see door frames in their own homes stretch longer than they should. Some have even found tickets on their kitchen counters, printed with only 2 words: admit one. The rumor now is that Hollow House will eventually appear in every town, that it's less a building and more a gateway, expanding, replicating, waiting for the Hollow Man to step through once there are enough souls to collect. If that's true, then sooner or later, it won't matter whether you seek it out. It'll come for you. New horror drops every Hollow Wednesday. Subscribe before you find someone else.